What's up guys, welcome back once again to the Gaming Careers YouTube channel. Today's video I am super excited for. I think it's going to be really useful for you guys. It is my top 7 tips as to why you might not be growing on Twitch. Now obviously with me running this channel full time, it's completely dedicated to helping live streamers. I see a lot of VODs and live streams on Twitch and I get asked what my opinion is as to why they're not seeing growth. Maybe they've been stuck at 0 to 5 viewers for a long time, or 5 to 10, or they're pushing for partner. There are many different stages in your Twitch journey where it's going to be really tough to grow, and these are my top 7 tips as to why you might not be growing on Twitch. Now just before we jump into the tips, I want to make one thing clear. This video is really for those people that want to grow on Twitch. I have zero problem with those people that just want to stream to their friends, share a link with their friends or their family, or they just have a community that they're very, very happy with and they're not looking to grow at all. By all means, do whatever you want on the platform. I am totally on board with that. But I do get a lot of people that want to grow this into their full-time job one day. They want to push for affiliate or they want to push for partner and start earning some proper money from this. And to do that, you have to build a community. You have to build an audience. A lot of people need to be watching your stream. So this video is dedicated for the people that want to grow rather than the people that want to just have fun on the platform and are not focused on growth. Now the purpose of me making this list really is to give you guys the best baseline that I can of the things to do on Twitch, or the things not to do in some cases. So if you apply these 7 tips to your stream, I think you are massively increasing your chances of being able to grow on the platform. Okay, let's jump in. So tip number 1, and bear with me, is that you might be streaming a saturated game. Your selection of game that you are going to choose to stream consistently on Twitch is probably the single most important factor as to whether or not you're going to see growth. And I completely understand where you're coming from. You want to play these awesome titles from these amazing studios, things like Fortnite, the new Call of Duty that's just come out, League of Legends, Overwatch. These games are incredible to play, and I'm sure you have a lot of fun playing them, but they are so difficult to grow in that kind of directory on Twitch. As an example, I just checked earlier, and Fortnite had a few thousand different streams that were on Twitch live at that moment, and that is just, you are competing with over 3,000 people to try and get views, and nobody is going to be scrolling down that page right to the bottom to try and find your stream. It's just so unlikely. Whereas if you choose a less saturated game, something with maybe only 20 or 50 different streams going, there's a much higher chance that somebody's going to stumble across your stream. And if you're providing enough value in the other tips in this video, then hopefully they will start to watch on a more regular occurrence. Obviously, you need to be playing a game that you're passionate about. I wouldn't want to advise you to go and start streaming a game that within a week you're going to be super bored of. You need to be passionate about the game, and that needs to come across in your stream. But I really would advise against choosing one of these, massively oversaturated games to try and stream, because it's just, you're really putting yourself in a difficult starting position. If you want to eventually move to a game like that, that's certainly something that you can do later down the line once you've built up a bit of a loyal audience. But to start, I would really advise against choosing a super saturated game. There is an awesome tool out there called Twitch Strike, which allows you to browse through the games that are being streamed on Twitch and see, how saturated they are, how many viewers they have on average, how many streamers they have on average, as well as whether the top 5% of streamers, how many of the viewer base do they hold? Because if you're wanting to stream a game where, the top 2 or 3 channels hold 95% of the viewers, it's going to be super difficult to grow there. Whereas if you choose a game that has a lower ratio than that, then it's going to be much easier to be discovered. The other advice I would give is to head to the Twitch directory and try and find a game there that has, still over 1,000 viewers in the whole directory, so there's plenty of room for growth for you in there, but maybe not as many streamers trying to compete for, the number 1 spot or the first row in that directory. And again, I do want to emphasize, you still want to be playing a game that either you're very good at, or at least you enjoy and you're very passionate about, because that needs to come across to your audience as well. Reason number 2 is probably the most common one that I see, and that's just that you're not interacting or being entertaining for your stream. I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but I really would encourage you to go into your Twitch settings, enable highlights to be created from your Twitch streams, and go back and watch one of your VODs of your full stream. and think to yourself, if I was to stumble across this stream, would I be entertained? You need to be constantly talking to your viewers. Even if you have 0 viewers, you need to be constantly talking, because you've got to grab somebody's attention as they arrive at your stream. So talk to them about what you're thinking about in game. One of the easiest ways to start is just to speak your mind and say what you're doing in the game, but you need to be constantly interacting, talking as much as you can, and just being entertaining, because at the end of the day, a lot of people come to Twitch to be entertained, and if you're not doing that, then why would they stick around? A couple of tips for helping you to be more interactive with your chat is to keep an eye on your Twitch chat. Obviously, you want to be making sure that you don't miss any messages of viewers that come in and say hello, so you can start a conversation with them. Having just a single monitor is no longer an excuse. I did a video last week or the week before about how you can now get Twitch chat on top of your game with a single monitor. So if you haven't seen that video, do check it out. I'll link it up in the card above. But you really need to make sure that you are interacting with your chat, you're asking them questions, you're starting a conversation, because at the very, very beginning of your Twitch journey, you need to be building that relationship with them. The other thing you can do is to get a family or a friend, somebody that's going to give you some proper advice to watch back one of your streams. Not somebody that's just going to tell you you're doing everything right, but somebody that's going to give you some proper feedback about things that you can improve. So try and use somebody that understands Twitch and knows what a good Twitch stream is. But if you're struggling to be critical of yourself and you think you're doing everything right, then try and find somebody else that can review your stream and give you some really helpful feedback. Reason number 3 is that your stream is plagued with technical issues. And I'm not just talking about little things, little bugs that happen once in a while. You forget to swap, your scene or something like that. I'm talking about something that has been going on for weeks and you haven't made any attempt to fix it. It's 2018. It's so hard to grow on Twitch nowadays that you just can't get away with any sort of constant technical issue. If you have, low frame rate or low bit rate, or, you're dropping frames all over the place, you have to fix those issues, because people are just going to find somebody else to watch. The Gaming Careers channel has, now over 40 videos helping you set up your stream, make sure that you can fix issues and things like that. So do your research, do the work that's required to make sure that your stream looks great. And also, you need to be thinking about the sound as well. Have you got a really bad mic that's just not that great to listen to? A lot of people that watch people on Twitch, sometimes minimize the tab and will more be listening to you and your conversation that you're having with your viewers. So make sure that you have a proper mic setup. You don't need to go and spend hundreds of pounds, but just spend the time sorting out your audio levels, making sure that your game noise isn't louder than your microphone volume, that you can be heard clearly and that you can be understood. Really get all of those technical aspects of your stream nailed down, and then you know that that isn't a reason why you're not growing. One of the tools that I recommend to fix these kind of issues is the Twitch Inspector, which lets you analyze either past streams or lets you run a test stream that doesn't actually go live to your viewers, and analyze things like drop frames or bit rates being varied and things like that. I've done a full video again on how you can analyze your stream, so check that one up in the card if you are experiencing any issues. Reason number 4 is that you aren't sticking to a consistent stream schedule. I'm not asking you to stream 5 hours a night every single day of the week, because I understand that many of you are still working full-time jobs and, with the eventual dream to coming to streaming full-time, and you can only manage, even if it's only 1 day a week for a couple of hours, make that your schedule. Because if somebody does discover you and stumbles upon your stream, but they don't know when you're going to be streaming again, then it's very unlikely that they're going to be able to come back. They might follow you, but they might already follow 1,000 channels, and all those notifications, they probably turn them off on their phone because they've got so many followed channels. So they're not going to see when you're streaming again. Whereas if they stumble upon your stream and they see below in one of your Twitch panels that you have a schedule and that you're going to be live that same time the next week, that is going to take up a part of their brain, a part of their memory. And, just like a TV show, there's a chance that they might turn up again because they really enjoyed your content. I feel like I'm plugging all my other videos in this video, but there is a super handy Twitch extension that you can install from Streamlabs that lets you put your schedule down in the Twitch panels below your stream, and it actually converts the schedule to the viewer's time zone, so there's no confusion about when you're going live for their time zone. If you want to learn about that extension, I have done a video and you can check that up in the card above as well. Reason number 5 why you might not be growing on Twitch is that you don't use a webcam. And I know there are plenty of examples of big streamers that don't use webcams, but I think Certainly when starting out, it is one of the best investments that you can make for your stream setup. It's all about connecting with your audience, and if you don't have a webcam, the only real human-to-human connection that you have is your voice. If you add a webcam in, that adds, it effectively doubles the connection that you can have with a viewer. Not only that, but they have a better chance of remembering you, so if they stumble upon your thumbnail again in the directory, they're going to say, oh, I actually watched that person before and I really enjoyed watching their stream. So I actually think investing in a webcam is a really great upgrade for your stream, and it can help potentially increase your audience as well. You don't need to be going and splashing out on a 4K webcam or a DSLR camera that somehow connects to your computer. I'm just talking about a basic webcam, maybe something that can capture in 720p, embedded nicely into your stream, just so that your viewers can interact with you both through your voice as well as being able to see you and see your reactions to some of the things in games. I really do think it's a way of building a better connection with your audience. Reason number 6 is that you aren't networking effectively on Twitch. Now, I get it that networking is one of those words that makes people cringe and think of LinkedIn, but you really need to build up a network of fellow streamers if you want to be able to grow in the directory. And what I mean by that is not spamming your link, joining people's Discords and saying, check out my stream, I'm live, and things like that. That is the wrong way to do it. I'm talking about hanging out in the directory that you're streaming and trying to grow in, hanging out other people's streams, talking to them genuinely, being a name to remember, but not spamming your link. Like a lot of these tips, I have a completely separate video about how to network effectively. So do check that out if you want more information. And I can't tell you how many people are doing this the right way in the Gaming Careers Discord, offering help to newcomers, really like advice and things like that. And then maybe the next time you stream, they're going to check you out because they remember your name as that super helpful person in Discord. So yeah, do check out my video. I've done a real deep dive in networking on Twitch, on Twitter, and on Discord. I think it's a really useful guide. Reason number 7, our final reason, and maybe our most important, is that you have to be providing value to your audience. It doesn't matter what platform you want to grow on online. It could be a website, it could be Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or something like Twitch. You have to be providing value to your audience. I mean, this comes across in many different ways depending on the platform, but particularly on Twitch, this could come across as just being really entertaining. That's the main reason that people come to watch streams on Twitch, is to be entertained. So if you are really entertaining, then that is certainly value that you're giving to your audience. But there's also plenty of examples on Twitch of people that are very, very good at games, competitive games, that aren't particularly entertaining, but they're so highly skilled that that is the value that they are giving to their audience, and people will tune in to watch them because they want to watch somebody that is incredibly good at the game and how they play and how their mind works when they're trying to play competitively. If you are one of those people that is very good at a game, you could offer tips and tricks, how to improve on certain heroes or certain maps, completely dependent on the game obviously, but the main reason I would give to give value to your audience is just to be entertaining, because people usually come to Twitch to be entertained. It's the new TV, it's what the youngest generation are watching, so be that entertainer on stream. Right, I know we've covered a lot in this video, so let's do a quick recap of the 7 tips. Tip number 1 was to choose your game wisely. Don't stream an oversaturated game if you want to grow on Twitch. Tip number 2 was to interact and entertain your viewers. You have to be exciting to watch. Would you watch your own stream if you were stumbling around the Twitch directory? Twitch number 3, fix all of those technical issues. This channel has so many videos about setting up OBS and doing all sorts of tests and things like that, so take your time and do the work required to set up your stream properly. Tip number 4 was to set up a stream schedule and be consistent with that schedule. It doesn't matter how many times a week it is, but just stick to that schedule so that your viewers know when you are coming back. Tip number 5 was to use a webcam and connect with your audience on more than just that, audio level. You also want to be entertaining them and then being able to see how you react to certain things in games through your webcam. Tip number 6 was to network effectively on Twitter, Discord, Twitch, any platform really that you can use nowadays, but network in the right way and build some real friendships within streaming community. And then finally, tip number 7 was to offer your audience value. Talking about value, if you have found this video valuable and maybe you've picked up a few tips of things to and not to do, then please do, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend that's, struggling to grow on Twitch. I'd really appreciate that. Obviously, if you could check out my Patreon as well. I'm massively thankful to my patrons every month who are helping me keep doing this job full time, creating content for you guys, creating new tutorials and guides like this one. So massive thank you again to my patrons. Also, we hit Discord partnership, so we have a new amazing URL for Discord. You can just head to discord.gg/gamingcareers. Come and join the community of 3,000, 4,000 members in there now, all helping each other out with their streaming journey or their content creation journey, whatever it is, as long as it's to do with gaming and creating a career out of it. Also, this might be my last video before TwitchCon. I'm heading to TwitchCon next week. I'll probably try and get a video out before that, but no promises. We'll see how tight the deadline is and how I manage all of the packing of my equipment, because I'm probably going to create, some sort of video about TwitchCon whilst I'm there anyway. So I'm going to take some of my kit out with me. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribers, I will see you in the next video. Peace.